Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome to my Texas Zone 8 garden. And this weekend I am participating in a local garden tour. So I'm going to be opening up my garden for people to tour in order to benefit my public library. In the meantime, to prepare for that, we do need to go through and do some late spring pruning and a little bit of maintenance. So come along with me. So I'm going to have several people in my garden. Last year I had like 50. This year I hope that I'd be closer to a 100. I'm not sure. But I do need to go through and do some pruning and maintenance within the garden. Now, I have a lot of these petunias that I've grown from seed right here, and even though they're overgrown and need to be cut back, I'm not going to cut these back today because right now they're putting on so many beautiful blooms. I don't want to cut these back right before the garden tour in 2 days because that won't be enough time for them to rebloom. But after that, I will. But we've got a few other little issues. Specifically, let's start over here with our Dutch iris. So over here, I have a bunch of Dutch iris, and they're actually falling over at this point in time. They should have been trimmed back a while ago. So I'm just going in and I'm trimming them back. I'm trying to leave some of their leaves in place because they are still adding nutrients to their bulbs. And while Dutch iris aren't like extremely reliable for me for each season, they do come back partially each year. So it just seems like it's less and less each year and I have to go ahead and replant, which is, that's not a problem. That's totally fine. But basically I'm just cutting the leaves about 6 inches from the ground. It's enough that the leaves can sink down into the existing violas right now. And be kind of hidden, but it's also long enough that the leaves still have about 6 inches of growth that allows them to continue putting on, allows them to continue feeding the bulb. Sorry, I feel a little muddled today. My allergies have been insane, and so I took some allergy medication, and I'm very sensitive to medication. So my head feels a little muddled, and I will say that I probably will be sniffly today. Okay, so see how quickly that cleans up that area really nicely. And you can see the longer stalks right here. So they still can do photosynthesis and put nutrients down into the bulb. It's looking really good. Next week after the garden tour, we're going to be pulling all these violas. They probably look pretty from far away, but up close they have a lot of damage regarding spider mates. And so it's just time to really pull them out. We're going to be replacing them with a ton of lantana. Now, while I'm here, it looks like I have my nepeta right here, which is suffering from a little bit of the spider mite damage too. I'm going to go ahead and leave it for now. I might end up trimming this back when I come through to plant the lantana. Let's go to the other area that I have for Dutch iris. Okay, right here are some daffodil blooms, and I'm going to use that same technique where I'm going to cut the leaves about 6 inches above the ground, enough for these leaves to become hidden among the violas, which will soon be changed out to lantana, and allow them to continue to photosynthesize and feed the bulbs. These were Mount Hood daffodils. They did not do very good for me this year, and I think it's because we had such an inconsistent winter. Now in here I do have dianthus, a magenta dianthus, and some of it has finished blooming out. So I'm going to come through carefully and I'm going to pull out any of the flower heads that have finished blooming. Any of the stems that have finished blooming. Most of them still have a little bit of blooming on them. And by coming in and doing that, we're encouraging new growth. Okay, I also have this foxglove, and it is getting to the end for it. It is suffering from some spider mites and such. I'm going to take a stake, come here at the base of it, just like that. And then I'm going to cut some pieces of just simple garden twine and bring this stem up and tie it around the pole for better support. And after the garden tour, I'm going to be cutting back all of my foxglove as well. It is getting close to where it's going to start dropping its seeds, and I think I'm going to let it just like seed itself. I think would be really good, and see if it happens to seed in place. That would be amazing. I've not experienced that in the past, but maybe this time we'll see. This is another area of Dutch iris. Just go ahead, trim these back. Same method, about 6 inches above the ground. Okay, I also have this Dusty Miller right here in this container, and it's put off this long bloom stalk. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the bloom stalk off, because for Dusty Miller, once it starts to try to put on blooms, what it ends up doing is it forgets about the foliage and focuses on the blooms. And I grow Dusty Miller for foliage. And so I don't want it to put all its focus here. I want it to turn back around here and become a bushier plant and focus on new foliage growth. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off. Now, these are cool when they bloom. They bloom a beautiful yellow color against this gray foliage, which is gorgeous. And they do make for excellent cut flowers if you want to go ahead and allow it to bloom. And while we're here, I'm going to deadhead a little bit in this Henry Dulberg salvia. Just a few of the blooms that are done. And allow it to start reflushing. Now I have a bunch of daffodil leaves over here. I'm going to just give them a little bit of a cut. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm not going to stress about it. Reason being I'm not going to stress about it is because, like I said, all these pansies are getting pulled out. So I think this looks okay for now. These are all getting pulled out next week. And so I think it'll be easier to cut back the daffodils if I don't have to worry about cutting off all the pansies. And I want as many of the flowers as possible for this point in time for the tour this weekend. Okay, I don't know if y'all can really see me, but I have a lot of new growth on the base of my crepe myrtle that I don't want. I want everything nice and cleaned up under here where you can see the trunks. And since this growth is fresh, it's very easy to just kind of pop off. And then anything I can't pop off, I'll use my pruners. So you can literally just pull down on the stems to clean it all up. But I limbed up this crepe myrtle, I think last fall maybe, because I just want a cleaner look down here, and you can see what a change that becomes once I come in here and start pruning all of this. I've also got quite a few weeds. Okay, so on some of the tips of the crepe myrtle, like this one right here, you can see that it's really like dried out and it collects like webs. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip some of those off just to clean it up, because a lot of it already has new growth at other places on the tips. So just kind of removing these dead branches is helpful to the plant so it doesn't have to worry about it. And it just kind of cleans up the look of the crepe myrtle as well. Okay, this right here is a whole bunch of daffodil bulbs. And I'm going to take this down further than I have the other ones, to about 4 inches. Typically, I have a lantana that comes back here, and it has not come back so far this year, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to plant some new lantana here, so it's no big deal. But because these are so far laid over at this point, I just want to go ahead and clean them up. And the leaves have been up for months already, so they've given lots of nutrients to the bulbs. And by leaving a little bit of growth on the end of them, that will help as well. All right, it's definitely time to cut off the stalks of my bearded iris, because I don't want my bearded iris trying to make seeds. I really just want it to focus on its rhizomes, even though this guy is ridiculously giant. This one is called Autumn Sunrise. But by going ahead and cutting off the spent bloom stalks, it just allows the plant to refocus on itself, which is going to be super important, especially in the summer. As it's so hot, the plant will have to fight to survive in my area. And we're going to do the same thing right here. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a giant hole right underneath me. My husband pre-dug some holes for me so that I can move over some roses. So I hope to get that to that soon. Now this Russian sage is getting a little out of hand because that's just its nature. So I'm going to do a little bit of pruning back, because right here I've got a guara, pink guara, that I want it to put on some awesome growth. Okay, over here I have a bunch of chocolate dara growing, and I have several already spent blooms, and those are the blooms that are going to start going to seed, and it signals the plant to stop producing flowers. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and anywhere I see a flower that's trying to go to seed, I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Okay, so I have a plant that is trying to fall over, and it's falling over all of my phlox. So I'm going to tuck another one of these tomato stakes in, and then use some additional twine. See if I can't bring this whole plant up. Hey, all of this used to be up. I have tons of flowers in my hair. All right. And then that helps out these phlox down here that were getting pushed over. Okay, and these are what the older flowers that are starting to turn into seed heads look like. So each one of the little flowers turns into its own seed head and then gets everywhere. So we'll get rid of those. Okay, I've got a little bit of Scabiosa coming over the side. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that so it doesn't bring down the entire plant. I've got a lot of status here. It's kind of falling over, but I want to leave it for the garden tour, and then I'll do a really nice cutting on it later. Just coming in here and deadheading a few of the bachelor's buttons. This will keep them blooming longer. Okay, I need to do a little bit of organizing back here. Just pushing some of these containers backwards. This is a lot of stuff that's going to get readjusted later on once I get the new garden set up here. This is a hanging basket that actually needs to get put out. I'm going to move these back here and I'm going to water everything really well. We are expecting rain, but still. Okay, so over here I have a bunch of sweet peas that are just overcome with spider mites. So I am going to just pull them all out. I don't know if I'm going to grow them next year. Spider mites have been such a big issue already. I don't know, just not feeling it. I didn't love harvesting them either, which, you know, growing and harvesting flowers is a big part of what I do. And then if I don't actually enjoy, I find these a little tedious. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'll grow them next year. We'll see. That weather trying to come through. I have to cut this video a little bit short. All right. That looks better. And I'll feel better about getting those out of there and not having to worry about the spider mites as much. Okay, the wind is really picking up. So I need to tie this America Climbing Rose up. It is flopping over and smothering out the sun for the chrysanthemums below it. So I'm just using some gardening twine. Just like that. Being careful because it has a lot of thorns. I guess I could put on my rose gloves. And then while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of trimming. I'm going to cut off the dead flower heads, and I'm going to cut them directly above a set of 5 leaves. When you do that, that will encourage new growth. I found this year with my roses that the sudden swing to hot weather defoliated a lot of them, which is no fun. All right, that clears it out a little bit and lets the blooms underneath, which is a French vanilla heirloom chrysanthemum that is getting ready to bloom. Okay, and then back here I have a vine. I thought it was Virginia creeper at first, but it's not. So I just want to go ahead and pull it out. It's not poisonous. It's not poison oak or poison ivy. It doesn't have the right shaped leaves for that. It's got quite the robust root system. And as most wild vines are, I'm sure it'll be back next year. And I'll need to pull it again next year. Okay, this is a butterfly bush that has gotten really bad spider mites as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it all the way down to the ground. I hope it flushes back, but I don't know. So early in the season for it to have spider mites. We'll just go ahead and take that all the way down. Okay, so the weather is very quickly coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I still have some more little things that need to be done. Oh, I see a giant weed back there that I need to take care of. There's still several other little things that need to be done. Specifically, a lot of my containers and stuff, I'm going to push them to the side, but I'm going to get my boys to do that and move all those for me and my husband so I don't hurt my back doing that. But it feels good to just go slowly through the garden. I think that's something that I forget quite frequently. You know, I'm always in a hurry to get a project done or get something planted. And today it just took my time. walked through the garden, found different areas that needed to be dealt with and dealt with them, which was wonderful. So I hope you all will take that time as well. Slowly go through an area in your garden, just enjoying it, looking, observing, which is such a big part of being a gardener, is observing. So, all right, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.